Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra,
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people.
associated with the creation
Or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked.
and sometimes what didn't,
You will also hear very personal experiences.
and insights that would trigger your thoughts.
And inspire you to do even greater things.
In this episode, I continue my conversation with Ramesh Rajagopal, a coach at PM Power Consulting. In the first part, he shared his origin story and also the experiences of his childhood and career. In this episode, he continues to share more details about leveraging his lean manufacturing experience and getting into agile approaches and becoming an agile evangelist and creating transformation plans for a large organization. His experience of being called one day to say that his position has been made redundant consequent to an organizational restructuring. How he became a trainer and became a continuous learner and being certified as a coach when he was 63. We also talk about his experience of moving into IT at a fairly senior stage in his career and leveraging the skills that he had from the manufacturing sector. Some of these skills needed for someone to do this and how one can develop the transferable skills. And then some of his personal practices to develop empathy as a person based on some of the practices that he has. And finally, his career tips for persons who want to get into IT from other domains. Listen on.
And one of the things this lateral movement helped me was during the later part of my career, the company which our company was called as GXS, Global Exchange Services. They had acquired a company called Innovis. And that Innovis, a US company, were very much advanced in Agile in 2010. When those people visited here, the coaches and others, they were looking around for people who could drive Agile in Bangalore. And they saw me, they met when they interviewed me, they came to know I've done lean manufacturing and I have idea about Toyota manufacturing and all that. They said exactly the same thing. Why don't you come and drive it for us? I said, okay. That's how he said, you become a Scrum Master immediately, you have to take up a certification. I attended, and first time I learned, I attended a full-time course. I became a Scrum Master. Then I started reading more and more books. I started reading about Agile and I felt, oh my God, this is really the thing which is impressive. I started coaching the teams. My job was not really Agile coach in my company, which was later on acquired by OpenText, but I was called as an Agile evangelist. So I was part of a bigger team of people across the US, UK and all, where we were planning how to roll out the transformation across the company, what all initiatives we need to take. So I tried to, the transformation planning, assessments and all that we were doing. We were also coaching teams slowly. On one fine day, I was called, to the office at 8 a.m. in the morning. So it was going very well, and I had about 6 months to retire. And there were HR, everybody. I was puzzled why they called me suddenly. At 8 o'clock, the meeting, he said, and you have to take it only in the office. You cannot take it from home. Even though those days we were taking the calls from home. That is about 5 years back. I said, okay. When there, he said, you have done a great job, fantastic. The team has grown, etc., etc. But then, sorry, we are restructuring and your job is eliminated. So you'll have to leave. And it was a big shock for me. HR accompanied me to the vehicle and they put me in the car and said, bye. As always, I used to maintain relationship with everyone in the organization, whether they are low or high. I felt communication is very important with every person. Every person is important. So they came, they offered a lot of support. People came all over the place. They said, Ramesh, we are very sorry. We miss you, etc. That kept me going. And then I wanted actually, to be honest, retire. And I had no plans to do what to do after retirement. But then this came as a shock to me. That day I decided I'm not going to keep quiet. I am going to work forever. Nobody is going to drive me out. So with that in mind, my wife was a very good supporter. She would always never get low spirited by such incidents. She would research and say, try this, and she would goad me into this, even if I felt a little depressed. I kept trying. I called my friends in Singapore and other places. Nothing clicked. But then suddenly somebody came and they told me, we need a agile coach. Tomorrow we need. Tomorrow. Okay, I'll come. I went there and attended the interview. 2 quick interviews. Then they put me on to an interview with a UK person, UK manager. Then I realized it was for Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia. They said, you have to come to Kuala Lumpur. Till that time, I had no plans to go to Bangalore, but I just moved. My wife said, let's go for 6 months. We went there for 6 months. We closed the house. My daughter had already gone to do her MS and research in the US. So we had to lock the house. We locked the house. We thought, only 6 months we'll be back. But we went there. 6 months became 1 year. 1 year became 2 years. Then the COVID arrived. So we could not leave Malaysia. Another 2 years. So I spent totally 4 years. By that time, I had coached a lot of teams, had a lot of exposure with portfolio management, PMO office, doing the agile transformation, working with various people, writing blogs inside, internally, etc. Full-time coach I was now. I had not been a full-time coach, and I learned how to be a coach. And I now know I should be also a trainer. So last year, I never stopped learning. One of the things was certifications. I always did certifications, something or other. If you won't believe, I did my MS from BITS Pilani when I was 50 years old. So why not do certified program consultant when I'm 63 years old? So I did my SPC when I was 63. When I was in Malaysia, I said, before I reach Bangalore, let me be SPC certified so that it will be an opportunity for me when I get back to become a trainer. So when I came back, I got an opportunity also after some trials. It looked like I won't get, but somebody suddenly came back to me and said, why don't you come? Because that day, they didn't have any trainers. So they came reaching out to me, can you please do this training after tomorrow? I said, okay. And I just did that training and I got very good feedback. They said, my God, we want to take you as a regular trainer. Can you come? I said, no, sorry. Maybe once or twice a month is okay for me because I still want to continue in elsewhere. By that time, I had also attended PM Power. So I thought it would be better for me to continue as a consultant and training could continue in parallel. So that's how I have been my long journey from starting from a graduate trainee engineer in Tata Motors to now my full-time Agile consultant here in PM Power Consultants.
Wonderful, Ramesh. Normally, in these kinds of conversations, I don't hold back my questions. I kind of jump in. But here, your story was so fascinating that I just noted a couple of points so that I don't forget.
I'm glad.
So I kind of see a lot of similarities in terms of the roles or some of the concepts or techniques that you said you were exposed to in the manufacturing world and in the IT world.
Yes.
So what we call as normally the transferable skills.
Yes, yes.
In most of my conversations, I also ask the guests if they have any advice for mid-career people, somebody who's been in IT all along, and then either is getting kind of frustrated or disappointed or wants to do something else and all that, saying, I've only done IT all my life. Now, how do I even look at something else? You've done it the other way. After being in manufacturing, coming into IT, and a nice thing about people calling you sir and all that. That is a nice experience, I think. So, what is your approach for leveraging the skills that you already have as a transferable skill when you're working in either a new domain or a new problem area or a new country, etc.?
Yeah, one is I always believed in what I learned everywhere was communication makes a big difference. Communication not only in the way we speak and get the information back, in the way we are able to understand the sentiments and feelings of people when we communicate. For example, I'll give you one simple thing which I learned in a very hard way. I used to sit in the shop floor for some time. Shop floor meaning where that particular shop had a lot of welding works going on. lot of people banging big structures with hammers, smoke coming out and all that. So we were staying in one particular shop. It was all raised cabins were there, and we were put in the cabins. It was a lot of noise and smoke coming, and we complained a bit. It's not good. So the manager decided, okay, you can move to the other end. We're still on the shop floor, but a little bit more peaceful place, in the assembly area where there's not much smoke. Okay, I did. In those days, they used to give big shoes, what they call safety shoes. If you want to walk on the shop floor, you have to wear those shoes and walk. They are very heavy ones. So next day, we were told you can move there. And next day when I came, they had organized the movement. So the workers, there are some people who are organized for that. They have come, they have removed the table, files, everything, and moved it to other place. When I went there, I thought, okay, everything is there. I went there. Of course, it was just few years into my career. Went there, I found my safety shoes missing. Then I asked that workman who was moving, did he not bring my safety shoes? I asked. He banged me back. He said, you may be educated. What do you think of yourself? Should I bring your shoes to this place? Do you know what you're talking? Should I carry your shoes on my head or what? I mean, he started speaking little harsh and vulgar. I was taken aback. And I said, I'm sorry. Then I realized, look here, there are certain things which you should tell and how to approach different people, different frame of mind, you should learn. It was just one example. There are several such examples I learned throughout my career because the production planning control offered that opportunity to go around, meet with senior most people, junior most workers, blue collar people, casual laborers, contractors, everybody I could interact. So that lent me communication, which was clearly transferable. You have to leave out your ego. If you are in a middle manager, by that time you already learned some things and you think, I know this, I knew that. But then somebody will stump you off. When I entered software, junior people, 3 years, 4 years, I had to learn from them. And I never bothered. They might be thinking I am a very senior man and all that, but I don't have to think myself that way. So I'll approach them. See, I don't know. If I don't know, I say I don't know. Then I had at least an opportunity to learn. Otherwise, you can never learn. This was one transferable skill, was communication. Another thing was taking credit all the time. One of the things I noticed was people want shabash, you've done a great job, you've done a great job. The lean manufacturing taught me the concept of team working. How I could see workers coming in the morning, assigning work for themselves, and then taking up the task. Things were moving much faster. The old concept was watch the workmen, see how they are doing, are they productive, are they not doing. So when I came to software, I was put as a manager. I never bothered cross-questioning people, what you do. And blissfully, I was a little bit ignorant of how they were developing software also. So I had to leave it to them. I empowered them and they were feeling very happy. I never missed any delivery. They thought he is new to software, what will he deliver? Then luckily the director of the company also believed in me. Said, Ramesh, don't worry about software. It's not rocket science. You can learn. But people management skill is very difficult. So middle managers should focus on people management skill by getting into the shoes of the people and keeping an open mind to learn things. Be a continuous learner. So this is again another thing. In terms of formally educating yourself, never tire yourself. Add more things to your certification, etc. Not from the perspective of career, but from the perspective of knowing more. So keep that mind on such things. And on the job also, you keep learning from the people around you. Listen to them, you can learn more. If you listen more, you can learn more. Even recently when I was in Malaysia, the Prime Minister of the country, ex-Prime Minister, 96 years old, he had got reselected as a Prime Minister. Of course, he ruled Malaysia for more than 25 years. When people interviewed him, he told me, 90% of the time when I talk to people, I just listen. 10% only I'll talk. That way I can listen to new ideas, new things. Half the time, we are already preparing the answer when somebody is talking, or we are preparing a question when somebody is talking. If we can avoid that, it will be very good. Of course, this was a weak part of me. I had the habit of interfering or intervening, abruptly stopping people, which Sometimes you will learn it in a very bad way, then you will get shut off. I think this also, I would say, you can learn it from the family itself. If you are a spouse, is most critical. He or she, the spouse will be the most critical. And often we defend ourselves. If we keep our mind open, the people closest to you are the people who criticize you. So we should welcome criticism and try to learn from them. This is another thing which I felt is a transferable skill we can everywhere learn.
You also spoke about two things. One is about networking,
Yes,
about developing contacts and relationships and all that. And as an influencing role, not necessarily a line kind
correct.
of a role. Okay. How do you think somebody can learn that? Not in the manufacturing speed or timelines, which normally we talk about in a design development, put into production. It's a much longer timeline to software where everybody wants solutions very quickly.
I think the way to influence, I will in any level. Supposing if you are in software, you will have to depend on, for example, ops people, or you have to depend. Say you are only delivery lead, and you have to interact with the quality person, or you are looking care of another one domain, and another domain which is a component which integrates with you is another head. You have to interact with them. Often, when we need work, we go to the people. That is a very bad quality. So we have to keep the long-term relationship in mind and respect people. So whenever we'll get opportunity to speak with them, interact with them, speak respectfully and try to learn what they are doing. When you do this, whether they are high or low or whatever level, colleagues or peers, when you respect people, in the normal run, if you say hi to them, then when you are in a crisis, you can go to them and they will step out to help you. There have been so many situations where people have gone out of the way. Middle of the night, you get a call saying, "See, our production system is down," and I have to count on one of the ops engineer. I could call Ramesh. Oh, Ramesh, okay, immediate. What do you want? That type of relationship is to be built. So they always have. There are proverb, like some of the things are 1,000-year-old crops, like they say about marriage. But similarly, I would say even anything which you do, keep the long-term view in mind. Then quick fires can be put out with help from others. Otherwise, you will be struggling all yourself. Then you find it is a big challenge. Most of the delivery or whatever we do in once you reach a middle level position or a senior position, nothing is done by you. Why does the tension build in you? Because others have to do it and you are worried they may not do it. Now, how to get that confidence in the normal time, take care of them and make them get committed to the way you think. Then they will be committed. They will be able to help you out. No great motivation is required for software engineers to work. They love their jobs. You give them the freedom and respect them at all the time, then they will come and help you at the right time.
Along similar lines, from being a doer to a person who is a coach or who's an enabler, you spoke about learning, doing, guiding, shaping, and all that. So,
Right.
as a coach, when you engage with a team, you probably have to wear different hats at different times or with different people or same person over time.
Yes.
Whether you teach them, run some training program, or you're a mentor, you're a coach, and all that. So, how do you switch these roles, or do you find any challenges in doing that?
It's a difficult question for me to answer because is to transition sort of smoothly. I think one of the thing which we do is, for example, when you have to talk to the leadership, we need to talk more formally and try to convince them in a different way, and putting put yourself into their shoes, what they are looking for. When we come to the say developers or the testers, what is it they are looking for? What I would, as I said, if you can try to connect them through the heart, meaning what they exactly are thinking, how does it impact them, then changing our role becomes easy. I mean, role play hacks becomes easy. Like for example, when I go to a developer or a tester, they are always interested in learning new things. They are worried about career progression. So if you can put the coaching in such a way how it helps them to grow, it becomes easy. When you go to the senior most person, that person is interested in knowing how can get committed deliveries, how can he improve the performance, how can he improve the efficiency of the organization. So it's more from the business perspective. So it's a, I would say, full range of things, a spectrum of things. So it's not that you need to struggle. I feel it comes naturally when you are able to, as I said, I am repeating probably that if you are able to put other person's viewpoint first, you can think what they exactly want. If you understand, you won't have much difficulty in changing it. If you are trying to come with some goodies and say, this is what I'm going to deliver to you, then they might just throw it back. So first understand what they want and what's the problem they are facing and what is the aspirations they have. Then we can try to fill in the gap. And more often, even as a coach, when I approach, whether it is a developer or a senior person, every time when they ask some question, I have something to learn, a new perspective. So this learning perspective should be always kept in mind. Then we can always transition to different roles.
Yeah. A related question. You both indirectly, I could sense this in multiple places, and also right now when you paraphrased it, it's about empathy for the other person,
Right.
right? Are there any personal practices that you follow that help you do it more naturally or consciously?
Yes, that's actually you hit the nail. I didn't want to attribute everything to that, but though I personally believe that I got exposed to yoga when I was in SSLC. One of my uncle, he taught me how to do the yoga, which is, the yoga and the pranayama, the physical exercises. And it so happened, my dad had come across a meditation practice called Raja Yoga meditation, which is called Sahaj and currently known as heartfulness meditation, which is very popular, similar to mindfulness. Heartfulness also is now becoming very craze and very popular meditation technique. This I started practicing immediately after my engineering. So from 90, when I was 21, I started practicing. And honestly, I can't think of a day when I have totally missed meditation. I would normally spend every day morning about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Even if I don't have time, if I have to catch a flight and other things, I would still spend some 10 minutes on meditation. So what happens is this meditation, we focus on the heart. That means we are trying to think of the divine, energy or God or light, whatever you call it, in the heart. So we feel heart is the place where we can connect. And even if scientific studies are there today, where some of the people they have done heart transplant operations. When they transferred the heart from one person to another, one dying person to another person, they found that person start behavior changed, their attitude changed. So it's the heart which controls the seat of emotions. It's the one which is able to help to connect with people. And everybody says, I pray with all my heart. I am deep from my heart, I am telling you this. So I love you with all my heart. So the heart is the seat which connects every individual. So this practice of meditating on the heart helped me to become more sensitive to my fellow human beings, that I am part of this big change, the cosmic change. So I am also one small being and treat everybody like as brother and know your behave as such. All these type of concepts, though I have not acquired perfection in that to a great extent. Even at home when a domestic servant works, help comes to our house, I am able to view that person differently. Same way, we'll be able to view everybody as a colleague with this type of practices. I would ad hoc nowadays, one of the additional help you get is your stress gets relieved. Every day you start fresh. So middle managers, they face a lot of stress. They are stressed from the top, they are stressed from the bottom. How do you handle all this? Meditation helps you to regulate your mind and have clear focus and thinking, which Agile also does. You want to have clear focus. How do you do it? Mind also is very much focused now because of the focusing of the mind and the heart. The current starts flowing better. I would say maybe call it little unscientific. It's a natural current which flows and connects with the way which you are doing things.
I normally like to ask one question related to career advice as we close any conversation. You have already kind of indicated one tip for people in mid-career who are managers about managing stress. Now, extending that, the two questions are one for people who are considering a career in IT today.
Yes.
What should they look at? And since you are an example of somebody who got into IT not as a fresher, but after some experience in a different domain, maybe we will look at those kinds of people who want to take a break from some other career and come into IT, and people who are in IT who want to look out and do something else. For these two, do you have any guidance or tips?
Yes, definitely. One thing is we should believe in ourselves. I had so much of manufacturing experience, and getting into software, people would, when I approach some people, they'll say, software is one, you're already 40. Software is for young people and not for you. Secondly, you don't know anything about software. It is very difficult. The competition is very tough. You just cannot get into it. So you will hear any number of people who will discourage you from taking a step forward. But I always believe this world is full of opportunities. Somewhere, someplace, there is a person who is looking out for you. If you look from the recruiter's perspective, they never get a perfect match. They cannot get 100 desirable skills, all this they put. Do they get all the time? They never get. Every time a person joins a job, whether he's skilled with a lot of experience or otherwise, that person has to start from the scratch in that company and learn a few things and do. So think from that perspective. The moment you get an interview, you will be getting an interview the way you put the skills. There are people who are looking for people with maturity, and whatever job you have you done well? If you have done these two, you should be able to shape your career. You can go and ask for people, and there'll be somebody. You don't get disheartened because somebody says no or somebody is not even looking at your app. Just keep on trying. You will get one day and you will be able to speak to the person and you will be able to convince. The world is full of opportunities. This you have to believe. Second thing, if you want to advance in your career, I would go by what I learned in chess. So one of the famous grandmaster in chess was asked, how many moves do you think ahead? You are a grandmaster. Do you visualize the entire game in your mind? He said, no, I just think one move ahead. Just one move. Wow. Yeah, that is correct, he said. So same way, people who are looking in middle career, they should not immediately aspire, no, I want to become a CEO, my goal is CEO. Don't look for CEO. Look for the next big step. What is the step you can logically take with a little more skills or little more opportunity? Can you get into that? Keep moving. Like continuous improvements, you make Kaizen, you say, keep making little changes, you can move that. The cycle team in UK, which had never won for years, the championship in Europe, they could win 3 times in a row the championship, all because the coach who came there taught them, make small improvements. The pillow you use in the night, or the pedal, the way you pedal, the way you eat food, how much you should eat in the morning, what dress you should wear, how you should wear your t-shirt, everything, small improvements were made and they could win. So small improvements make in your career also. Keep moving forward. You will be able to achieve it. If you start thinking big, you can have an aspiration, a vision to go there, but look at the near road. Don't get stumped there.
Wonderful, Ramesh. I think very simple, but very effective. And I can feel that it has come from your experience. So that makes it that much more powerful. So on that note, we are absolutely out of time for this episode. I'm sure I would want to connect with you and then explore some of these things a little deeper in some of the future conversations. Yeah, thank you.
Certainly, Shiv. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I enjoyed talking to you.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People Stories.
If you like this episode,
Please subscribe on your favorite podcast client.
And spread the word in your network.
if you'd like to share your story,
Contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.